Hey, welcome back. Good to...
Hello.
Welcome back. We're all a year older, Dan. Feels
we are.
a few years older.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back. We're all.
There we go. Somebody got that playing.
That's
Excellent.
it. That's it. We can hear it. We can hear it. We can hear it. It wouldn't be a meeting without a few bits of strange noises coming from different places. But
Absolutely.
hello, everybody.
Nice smooth start as usual.
I said, everything was going too smoothly before, and we were in danger of looking professional. So now the website's completely redone, a whole new platform that we're streaming from. Kind of so just to bring back that edge. That.
Well, we're going to make things a little bit more challenging, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and it's nice to be back. It's the spring is coming in the northern hemisphere. It's really nice to be here, and it's really nice to be on screen with my two favorite people of Diane and Dan, and the other host. We don't need to worry about him anymore. So it's great to see you both.
It is great to be back, and I can't believe it's actually been nearly 7 months since we were last here. It's just, where has the time gone? And of course, in between that, we've had WordFest, we've had umpteen things going on across the organisation. So we have got quite a lot going on this evening. So we're just going to crack on and get straight into some things here that we need to cover off. First off, WP Global. Now, this is all a bit of a change. We're in a situation now where here in the UK, we are slowly trying to work our way back to getting back into physical events. Obviously, the pandemic has been a complete situation roadblock. Now where here in... Where am I getting the audio? Obviously, through the pandemic, we've been having obviously major roadblocks in relation to coming together as a community. So we needed to figure out how we did that. We converted WPLDN into virtual WPLDN right at the beginning of the pandemic. As we know, the three of us, we've spent months here, along with Mr. Smart occasionally. We've been here delivering content into the community in this virtual format, which has brought with it, some incredible things in terms of the ability to be able to connect with the community, the ability to be able to be around that and be amongst that global community. So just to want to give a bit of an explanation here. We are now transitioning virtual WPLDN into WP Global with a focus around the global community, and I'll get into that a bit more in a bit. And then we've got WPLDN, which is returning as our physical events. So just wanted to quickly mention for this evening, we've got for this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I appreciate this. This is no longer time specific. We've got 2 sessions coming up this evening. I'm just going to keep saying that, aren't I? 2 sessions coming up today. Please do, if you're on live.bigorangeheart.org, use that live chat on the right-hand side there. We're going to be running live Q&A sessions for both our speakers. So if you have any questions, do drop them in the live chat.
And also tell us where you're joining us from so people can see where we are getting from the global perspective.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And we'd love to hear, just introduce yourselves. Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Why are you here? So Big Orange Heart is a non-profit supporting and promoting positive well-being and mental health within the remote working community. Big Orange Heart is enabling us to be able to deliver these events. So we just needed to give a mention out to them. Your hosts this evening. It's not this evening, is it? Today.
I don't think it matters, Dan. I don't think it matters. It's this evening somewhere.
Yeah. It's this evening right here.
It's always 11 o'clock somewhere.
I'm Dan Maybe, the founder and executive director of Big Orange Heart, and looking forward to delivering this event and getting back to being in amongst the community, both virtually and physically, over the coming months. Diane, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hello, I'm Diane Wallace, and I'm a freelance web developer specialising in custom WordPress themes and plugins.
Excellent, thank you. And Leo?
Hi, I'm Leo Mindell. I'm the non-executive chairman of a company called Sotic, who are a WordPress agency that delivers in sport.
Fantastic, thank you. Whilst we're running through the evening, through the event, we'd love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, your ideas around the event. There is an option on the website if you're on live.bigorangeheart to hit feedback. We'd love to know, and feel free to use the live chat. If you've got any thoughts as we move forward in the delivery of these events, we'd love to know what you think. These events are made possible thanks to the sponsors that support Big Orange Heart, and I'm just going to... No, I'm not. We've just played that video.
Everything, as you can tell, everybody, everything is pre-planned, well rehearsed. Although I would say that the speakers today are excellent. So that bit is the best bit. That's what you're here for.
That's right.
Not us.
We wouldn't be able to deliver the work that we are doing through Big Orange Heart without these sponsors. So please do, if you could hit that URL on the slides there, big.ht/thanks. That will put together a nicely pre-formed tweet for you to send out a thanks to Bluehost, Cloudways, GoDaddy Pro, Nexus, and Weglot. These companies are global sponsors of Big Orange Heart and are supporting us through the full 12 months of 2022. So really would appreciate a thanks sending out to those companies. And as Leo was mentioning, speakers, we've got 2 great speakers coming up tonight, both of which happen to be North American or based in North America. And that's all part of what we're doing across WP Global. It is really about reaching out to the global community. So if you are listening to this and thinking, good grief, I could definitely do a better job of this, we are opening the floor not only to speakers, but also to a guest co-hosts. So if that's of interest to you, we would love to hear from you. But back to our speakers. Amanda will be demonstrating how we can optimize our non-profit clients' online fundraising strategies. And Lindsey Miller will be covering some of the red flags when it comes to working with potentially shady agencies. So, of course, we want to be looking out, making sure that the agencies that we're working with are not going to raise issues for our clients. As I mentioned, we are looking for speakers. If you are interested in speaking at either our virtual or physical event, please hit that short URL, big.ht/speak. We'd love to hear from you. We are looking for sessions that cover a wide variety of experience, knowledge, understanding of WordPress. We have a really broad community that supports Big Orange Heart, and particularly across the WordPress side of what we do. So we're looking for people that are developers, designers, business owners, users, ranging in the skill sets, ranging in the skill expertise as well. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you, no matter where you are, no matter what your experience is. Essentially, it's an opportunity just to get in front of and be part of that community.
And I'd say to anybody that this is a real opportunity also to give stuff back, as well as giving stuff back for the community. It gives you the opportunity to expose and to try out speaking, and that can work really well in building your own business and building your own experience and knowledge going forward.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so we've got some community announcements. We're going to run. So community announcements are an opportunity for us to share things that are happening that we're aware of across the community. And equally, if you're out there watching this, particularly if you are on live.bigorangeheart.org, use that chat on the right-hand side. If you're aware of something that's going on in and around the community that you feel would be of benefit for our community to know, let us know, and we'll make sure we get it shared up on the screen here. But before we get into the community announcements, I just want a quick word from one of our sponsors, Bluehost.
Who says building an online store has to be hard? With Bluehost Website Builder, it's more than just easy. It's tell us your thing and smart AI will take it from there easy. It's WooCommerce friendly, so you can add one of these or swap this for that easy. It's set up shop in minutes with unlimited products easy, whether you sell boots, books, or bowls. It's create an online store with Bluehost easy. Build beyond boundaries with Bluehost.
Excellent. So coming up in 2022, events, lots of events, particularly from Big Orange Heart. We've got, as I've mentioned, virtual, physical. We can do it.
We'll even come to your house if the price is right.
I'm not sure that, but I'm not sure you would want us to come. Actually, is probably more the point than we. Although we would probably come anyway.
Yes. If you want to understand what's going on, head over to events.bigorangeheart.org. You'll find there a nice calendar that will enable you to understand what events are coming up. And if we start attending people's houses, I wouldn't put it past us.
It's a bit worrying. Diane went a bit mad in lockdown, and now we've got to deal with her. So
yeah, it's been too long.
Yes. But it's sort of coming to an end. We've got, as I've mentioned, WP Global. This is our virtual offering, virtual events. So WP Global is going to happen every month on the second Thursday of the month, which is where we happen to be right now. So if you are out there and you are interested in getting involved, then we would love to hear from you. If you're on live.bigorangeheart.org right now, there are various options for you to get in contact with us. Head over to the feedback, head over to the help desk, wherever you want to head. You will end up getting to a contact form that will enable you to reach us. We are looking for people that are prepared to come and join us, as we've already mentioned, to come and join us as speakers over the coming months. And we're also looking for guest co-hosts. So we really want to make sure that this is a globally focused event that really encompasses that. Yeah, we are looking for people across the world that can get involved in all sorts of ways. And if you're interested in getting involved as a co-organizer as well, equally, we'd love to hear from you. Best way to do that is head over to bigorangeheart.org/join. That will get you into our Big Orange Heart Slack team. And from there, we can start communicating and working forward together. So WP Global, what you knew as virtual WPLDN is now WP Global, because WPLDN, the physical event, is returning this month, 27th of April. Now, we normally deliver WPLDN on the last Thursday of every month, usually, as you can see there. However, those that are switched on here, you'll notice April 27th is not a Thursday. This is our first event back, and we are having to deliver it on Wednesday, the 27th of April. If you're interested in getting involved and joining us, registration is now open. Looking forward to hearing Paul Lacey. I've got a great session coming up from him, and we've equally got we will have a fascinating discussion around the changes within WordPress whilst we've been a locked down community. So that idea of a distributed community, how we've achieved what we've achieved. WordPress has moved forward considerably in the last 2 years, and that's all been accomplished without us being able to come physically together. So I think there's some really interesting points to get into that conversation. So if you're interested in joining us, you can find the registration page on both events.bigorangeheart.org and on our meetup page, meetup.com/London-WordPress. Carrying on with that theme of events, and sorry, I said Diane and Leo, how great is this? Back to a physical event.
I know, and I'm going to miss the first one. So.
I think that, I mean, it's been talked about many times, and everybody knows where everybody's feeling because we've been locked down and have gone through all that, and we're out the other side of it now. So it's going to be really interesting to see this. I've been to a number of events in other fields, and it is just great to go back and you cherish the bits that you've learned, and you take some of the bits that you've felt over that time and move it forward. And it's going to be really exciting to be doing events again. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to lugging all the equipment into London again, Dan. I'm not sure, that wasn't the greatest bit, but the rest of it should be really good.
Yes. Yeah. I think one thing I just want to mention is I appreciate we are obviously we're delivering this in the UK, and we're in quite a privileged position to be able to do that here in the UK at the moment. I fully respect that not everywhere globally is in a similar position right now, and to that end, we will be streaming the sessions. So whilst we won't have a great dedicated focus around the virtual elements of WPLDN, the sessions will be streamed, and you will be able to engage and interact with us whilst we're delivering this if you are unable to join us physically at the event. And talking about streaming, we mentioned back in September last year, we announced 2 dates for WordFest Live through 2022. The second being September 9, 2022, for our 4th offering of our 24-hour festival of WordPress. But then in January this year, this happened, which is fantastic. WordCamp US is coming back and is coming back physically in person in San Diego. But you guessed it, the date was announced as exactly the same date as ours for WordFest Live. And being a virtual event, obviously WordFest Live, it was much easier for us to be able to say, right, we need to look at adjusting that. So I'm happy to announce WordFest Live will be coming back on November 18, 2022. So please, if you're interested in getting involved in WordFest Live, our 4th offering of our 24-hour conference, virtual festival, we would love to hear from you. We're going to be opening up the opportunity to come join us as an organizer very shortly. Please do look out for details. Wordfest.live is the website. And yeah, Leo, Diane, I know Leo, obviously you've been heavily involved in terms of the AV and the delivery and the back end side of the first 3 WordFests, and
Yep.
yeah, interesting, challenging, fun.
So I think with well, I think all of those are different words. There definitely are. I'm not sure about the fun at times. It challenging, definitely. To put on an event, bear in mind this wasn't any of our areas of core competence before. It's been amazing what we've been able to pull together and how we've delivered it and how slick it's got. You've seen that at the beginning of this show, how we've brought that slickness forward. But you've learn a lot of skills, and we've actually been able to meet people and pull on people who we didn't know about before, and that has been one of the most successful things of this. I'm looking in the chat at that's happening on the live environment at the moment, and the number of people on there that maybe a few years ago, before the first WordFest Live, I didn't know. And now we do, and now these people can deliver, and it's been an excellent experience to learn and to move with these people. So it's going to be great to see how it expands on November the 18th.
It is. It absolutely is. Excellent. And as usual, we are rapidly running out of time. There just never seems to be enough time for all this. So we're going to really kind of have to run quite fast through this. But of course, this is an important piece, WordPress 6.0. The 6.0 Beta 1 was released 2 days ago. The general release for this is currently scheduled for the 24th of May this year. If you are a plugin developer, a theme developer, highly recommend heading over and getting the beta release of this and getting it tested. Several big changes coming in. There were a couple of notable ones that I thought would just pick up on very quickly. This one, actually, Justin Tadlock in the WP Tavern reported on just yesterday on what seems to be quite a bit of an 11th hour addition to WordPress 6.0. In fact, this is actually coming to Gutenberg version 13.0, which is going to be bundled with WordPress 6.0. And this is it's an option to pick a pattern on page creation. So I don't know about yourselves, Diane, Leo, whether this is something that is of interest to you.
So I've been kind of playing with sort of like the block patterns, and I think they're a really useful tool. They make it much faster for people to like build out pages, and then you can like go in and modify them. I've kind of enjoyed playing with those. I've also been playing as well with the full site editing, but I don't know if we want to circle back to that in a minute after other people have said about the block patterns. I think this is really very useful for people, especially people that aren't that familiar with WordPress, to build things out quickly. So
I think the thing to me on that one, Diane, is style sheets were always confusing to end users. This concept of creating a sheet or a style that could be used throughout a site, and how you actually imply it and get that to work is quite difficult. What this is trying to do is get us to the point when you can turn around to say, this is our brand identity, stick with it. You've got all the options there. And if you need an additional option that you don't have, we can create it and we can push it out. And that to me will mean that we'll have more consistent sites. We're going to have better looking sites, and we're going to have the ability for a site to grow and expand. That's how I understand this is going to get delivered, or what it's going to deliver.
Yep. And I should just mention that the GIF that you're seeing repeating on screen at the moment is just it was a design concept that was included in the original pull request that was only, I believe, was only opened actually 10 days ago. So this has been really kind of lightning fast piece of work that's been happening here, which I think just goes to credit the concept of the feature plugin. Obviously, we've got the block builder, the block editor plugin, the Gutenberg plugin, which obviously can be iterated and evolved upon very rapidly. Also
just wanted to say about the full site editing.
Sorry, yes, yeah, absolutely.
Just before we speed past. So I know we were discussing before the event started that I do mourn the loss of the customizer. I've been playing with the full site editing, and I can actually see again that it's going to be really useful for users, but I do mourn the loss of the customizer because as a developer I've used it a lot. I'm very familiar with it, but I understand that there's a disconnect for most people going into the customizer. I do hope that future versions of the full site editing have more of a preview than they do currently. At the moment, when you edit template parts, you just see the template part. You don't see it in the site until you save it and then go to the site. And some of the time when I've been making changes, I've noticed that the changes don't happen. But that's, like I said, kind of, I know it's in beta, the full site editing, the site editor at the moment, and I think it could be really good. On a personal note, I do wish that they could have kept the customizer in a little bit longer.
I think some of this thank you. I think some of this conversation will be fascinating as we go into our discussion at WPLDN, because it is around this, that evolution of WordPress, and I appreciate it, Diane. Unfortunately, you won't be there, but it is that the changes that have happened over the last 2 years have been phenomenal. If we look back at where we were kind of 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, around WordPress, and we're just getting into the 5.0 release, and all the conversations and challenging issues that we were having then. And I'm not saying they've certainly not gone away. There are certainly a lot of very challenging discussions that are still taking place. One of which is actually this WebP issue. And my understanding here is the WebP was going to be brought in, or the file format of WebP was going to be brought in as a default offering. So every time a JPEG image was uploaded to the media library, WordPress would automatically create a WebP version of that image, and then that would be displayed in browsers that were compatible with the WebP format, which all sounds fantastic, I think, in the kind of the broad sense, the high theoretical view of that. However, I understand a lot of conversations come, I think, predominantly around the hosting companies, quite rightly so, because of course essentially what we're saying here is by default we are doubling the size of, or we're doubling the number of images that are in every single WordPress media library globally. If that simply gets turned on and happens in every image that gets uploaded, you're going to end up with 2 of each file as a minimum. And of course WordPress will create multiple versions of the same image with your different image sizes.
And all the sizes added by your themes and plugins. Sometimes when I've gone in people's sites and just seen an incredible number of different image sizes, and you're kind of like, really, we really need fewer image sizes most of the time.
Yep. Yes. It is. It's an interesting situation. Sorry, okay.
We're not seeing your slides at the moment, Dan. I was just going to say. So
okay, let me just pull those off for a minute and hopefully
put them back on.
Get those back up. Yes. Yep. So let me just bring those back on, and hopefully they will come through to the feed. Apologies if you weren't seeing the slides there, but hopefully you can now.
I'm just checking. No, there's still not. You're going to have to stop the share, Dan.
No,
stop the
let
share.
me just stop there a minute. Okay.
Thank you. It's interesting with something like WebP. We move forward. You hear about new technology and you hear that it's going to go and take over the world, and it appears really quickly and it appears in everything that you want to do. And then sometimes not everything works as planned. But it's that sort of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We will get there. We will get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you have to try, as you were saying, Leo, you always have to try these things, because otherwise you know, kind of, we'd never, you've always got to aim for the stars. And then even if you fall short.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. That's it. So, I think we're not seeing the slide still. So we're going to just move on. Dan, what's the next slide? And then
so next
and then
up
we'll get to our speaker.
Very, very quickly. So we just want to mention the Page Builder Summit. So Page Builder Summit is coming up on the 20th to 24th of June. A great lineup of speakers already confirmed over there. So pagebuildersummit.com for more information. And apologies, I am just going to really quickly rattle through these last couple. Couldn't go through this without mentioning WordCamp Europe. Dates are 2nd to the 4th of June. That's going to be held in Porto, Portugal. The format is going to be a physical event, a 3-day event, 1-day contributor day, 2 days of conference. And that is tickets are now available. So head over to europe.wordcamp.org/2022. So that is one more. So I just wanted to very quickly mention also WordCamp Asia. So asia.wordcamp.org/2023. Tentative date has been set for the 17th to the 19th of February 2023 to be held in Bangkok, Thailand, in the True Icon Hall in Bangkok. Same format, similar format to WordCamp Europe, 1-day contributor day and 2 days of conference. That wraps it up for those items. Did we get any others come through on the chat at all?
Just a number of people saying that they are actually going to WordCamp or to the WordCamp Europe. So it's going to be exciting that it's back in play, and that these things are on again. I think it will be. We'll see how the take up is as these things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Okay, so we are just about ready to get started with our first speaker of the event. But before we do that, I'm just going to hear a quick message from our sponsors over at Cloudways. Okay, I love the way the sponsors have all upped their adverts.
I was thinking that exactly the same on the last WordFest. It's amazing the difference we went from the beginning where it was very, very basic to these sort of newer style adverts. And it's obviously because they realize that this is how things are going to be delivered. So they're actually adopting and investing in that technology. So
certainly are.
That's all good for all of us.
Very slick.
Yes. Shame about the rest of it, really.
Well, 7 months. It's
our first.
It doesn't matter. Everybody came for the speakers anyway, not for us.
Speaking of which, we are now going to stop all this rattling on, and we are going to invite Amanda Gorman to the stage. Amanda is the Director of Customer Success at GiveWP, the best fundraising solution for WordPress. Amanda, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Excellent. Okay, Amanda, we have rattled on for far too long, so we're going to get off quickly. We're going to get your slides on, and we're going to hand the stage over to you. You're going to be delivering your talk, How to Help Your Non-Profit or Non-Profit Clients Connect with More Donors. So looking forward to this, and we shall see you in a moment. If as Amanda delivers her session here, if you're on live.bigorangeheart.org, Amanda will be holding a live Q&A at the end of her session. So if you have any questions, do drop them in the live chats and we will get them asked on your behalf. Amanda, the stage is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Welcome to how to help your nonprofit or nonprofit clients connect better with donors. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a lot of experience working with nonprofits and through my work at GiveWP and just in the WordPress community in general that has brought this talk to life. And we're going to really dive into how to help connect with donors from the foundation and onward, because there's really endless ways to do this. But we're going to really start from the foundation and work from there. So as Dan graciously introduced me, I'm Amanda Gorman from GiveWP. I'm Director of Customer Success at Give. And that title means that I work with customers of GiveWP every day to help optimize their nonprofit strategy, to implement the GiveWP forms in a way that's going to help them raise more money in their communities. So I get to see a lot of customer examples in my interactions with our customers. Get to see use cases of how they're implementing various types of campaigns, getting creative with how to ask for donations, and engaging donors in some really amazing ways. So we're going to get into that today. And I do have lots of experience in WordPress. It is like a second home to me. So many members of the community have taught me so much. Attending WordCamps have helped me become confident as a speaker and helped me grow in my career path. So I'm just super grateful for the WordPress community and the space that's been cultivated here as well. So first, to dig into this, we're going to talk about making giving easy. So a lot of times when I'm talking with some of our customers or working with some of my clients on the side, which I work with some nonprofits just for general WordPress consulting, the confusion is how do we make a simplified version of giving on our website when we have so many different types of campaigns that we want to run throughout the year, different areas of need, different initiatives that need attention. It can get overwhelming to try to strategize what is going to be most effective. So we're going to just break it down of what the most important thing is to do first. So first of all, a very clear donation page is crucial for any nonprofit on any nonprofit website. So making sure that you have a very clear donate button in your main navigation. And this is typically in the top right-hand corner of most web pages for nonprofits. This button can be styled in some unique ways to really make it pop. And I'll have an example to show you in a moment of how that can be implemented. But it's difficult when I sometimes visit some of our users' websites where the donate page is buried. It's maybe in a sub menu, or it's not the first right-hand corner of the page. So you kind of have to look and search for it. If the verbiage isn't clear, it can confuse donors and it might deter them from making that contribution if they don't know where to do it and they're already ready to do it. Including your why on your donation page is crucial as well. So a lot of times I see folks implementing a donation form in whatever tool they might be utilizing, but it's just the donation form on that general giving page that they've added to their website. A lot of times this happens when folks are new to the nonprofit online fundraising space and they just want to get up and running. Resources are limited. People are limited in implementing things. So just getting things done quick and dirty sometimes is what's needed. But if you've got the time and the resources and the intention to prioritize your need for online fundraising, you should really start thinking about why somebody should be donating to your organization and implementing a strategy of content on your donation page to reflect that. So that kind of content could be in the form of copy, of course, in video and in images, and that should be surrounding your donation form. So typically I see something where there's a little bit of an intro to the organization on the donation page, the donation form, and then underneath it, some more content, more in-depth. Content can go underneath the form, especially when considering a mobile experience. If somebody's navigating to the donation page, you want them to be able to donate and not scroll through content to be able to get to the donation form. So making sure that that donation form is relatively above the fold, at least there's a button that they could click to get there. and then elaborating on content, adding videos and images underneath to really convey a story is going to be crucial on any general donation page. You could also include something like a donor wall, which would be a way of featuring donors that have contributed to your campaign right there next to the donation form. And we'll look at an example of that, kind of creating a sense of community and engaging people to join in that community giving. You could also add testimonials from other donors or who you are supporting. Maybe it's volunteers or sponsors as well. Whoever you might be able to get a little bit of insider voice on your donation page would be a great way to connect your donors with your organization, and specifically those you're supporting if you're able to get that kind of testimonial. So a great example here is Games for Good. They have a perfect opportunity to donate right in that top right-hand corner that I discussed earlier. And in their hero image here, that call to action of find your player is super clear. And it's not redundant with that donate in the top right-hand corner, because it allows you to go and find a specific player to donate to. Whereas the top right-hand corner is more of a general donation, which is really common. The donate to our general fund is right next to that find your player button. And that's really handy as well for folks that might see that first and they can just make a general donation. But this simple call to action, beautiful imagery, a quick little one-liner at the top there to get people to donate is exactly what I'm talking about for like a home page of your website. And then folks can go to that donation page or campaign page to get more information. Another example here is Meals on Wheels, which is an amazing organization. He was in the Olympics, and you should definitely check him out. He's an awesome, awesome person. This donation form example is a really nice way of displaying how you could put some content in a story to the left of your form or above your form. And the donation form would just be an element of that donation page. So instead of just coming to this page, it would just be the form. I have a lot of content to read through here to understand why it's important to donate and to contribute to this organization. Another example here is a nice donation form with a donor wall displayed right next to it. So being able to display the folks that have contributed to a particular campaign, maybe it's one campaign or generally all of your donation campaigns broadly. You can display those that have contributed and how much they donated if you choose to, their names, or you could display anonymous givers as well, just to show that you've got donations coming in. And there's a really great example here. So once you have your general donation page implemented, you can start branching from there to start considering different styles of campaigns and ways of fundraising online. But it's really crucial to maintain your general giving approach and the way that you're marketing that, the way that you're getting people to that donation page, the way that your call to actions live and exist on your website. That's really the foundation for asking people to give. And when you start diversifying your ways to give, you want to get clear about why that donor should go in a different direction versus a general donation, so that you're not kind of duplicating your efforts and splitting your donors' attention across many different things without intention. So you could showcase many different campaigns of areas of need. If your organization has different goals throughout the year, if they want to raise a certain amount of money to build a community center or to feed a number of families, you could create different campaigns that are specific to those goals so that your donors have a really clear understanding of what exactly they're supporting. Whereas general donation campaigns can be used for anything. So you do have to consider from a nonprofit perspective and how your board and how your accounting is handling diversifying funds. If a general fund is really what you need to be able to move money around however you want, then that's absolutely wonderful, and you can implement different areas of giving on a general form. But if you wanted to have your donors have a more diversified and individual experience, creating those different campaigns is really key. And we'll get into that a little bit more. You can also create time-sensitive campaigns, creating a form with a countdown on it or a goal that's going to end at a certain period of time after a certain number of weeks or days. Big Orange Heart did a 24,000 step campaign that was within 24 days. So that is a perfect example of how you could raise money in a certain period of time and have a real end cap to it so that you're getting people excited and getting people involved. Time-sensitive campaigns can work really well with in-person or virtual events, just like that 24,000 step campaign. It can work well in person and virtual to really get people banded together to participate in that event and to open up your opportunity for donations, not just during the event, but before or maybe after it, depending on how you run that campaign. Competitions and contests can be really fun. Getting people to join your contest, which we'll show as an example here in a moment, is really creative. And you can even mail the person a calendar after the competition is over. So there's a lot of unique use cases out there, and we can get into that more if there's questions. Text to Give is a really nice feature that you can utilize in person events or on virtual events to provide your donors with a number to text to donate. And this works really well for those in-person events where you just want people to be engaging with you during the event and not be necessarily finding your form on your webpage, but just have a clear prompt to text to donate. So it's really quick and easy for them. Peer-to-peer fundraising is also a nice way to branch out your ways of creating campaigns across your website. So if you wanted to get people to fundraise on behalf of your organization, peer-to-peer can be really powerful for that. So some examples here. So I wanted to show the multiple ways of showing campaigns. And this can be really done in many, many ways. But I really enjoy this example from this sorority foundation, which has a heading in their main navigation of ways to give. And you can see that they've got an annual fund, they've got a donor recognition section, a giving program, and a couple different other campaigns like Plan Giving. So all of those have different campaigns and different language on them to give donors a perspective of why they should contribute to that particular campaign over just a general giving program. And they've got a great description of their different giving programs. And these giving programs are related here in their context to become members. So when donors become a member, they join as a specific they join in terms of joining a specific giving program to receive maybe some perks or benefits or just updates from the organization about how that money is being used. So that's a really nice way of being able to communicate with your donors after they've donated, that they've contributed to a particular area of need and how things are progressing in that particular area, and maybe encourage them to donate in other areas as well. Some types of online fundraisers are listed here. So there are so many different types of online fundraising that you can engage in. And this is just some examples. So running an e-commerce store where you sell t-shirts, calendars, or other kind of swag would be a great way to get donations in for the organization. You could create a birthday peer-to-peer campaign or just a birthday fundraiser for your organization. Like if it's your organization's birthday, you could kind of run a nice birthday fundraiser right on your website and promote it on social media. You could teach a course for donations, host a raffle or an online auction, send a holiday card or a tribute card with a donation, allow your donors to send a card to somebody then they'd be able to receive that in their email or even via snail mail. You could host a virtual dance party. You could host a virtual snowball or balloon fight. And that can be really fun to get people engaged in reaching a goal. And essentially your snowball or balloon would be the number of donations received on your particular donation form. And whoever wins the snowball fight. So there's a lot of cute ways to get people involved depending on the type of organization that you're running. You could also partner with another business for a matching fund campaign. So if you're running a time-sensitive campaign and you want to get people rallied around a specific goal of $10,000 because an organization is going to match that, that's a great way to get some press and attention to your organization. So here's another example of a calendar contest. So on this website, Superhero Project, it's one of my favorite GiveWP customers. They are amazing and the work they're doing is incredible. This organization takes pictures of children in the NICU and who are struggling with various challenges. And these children each get their own donation form. The parents can sign them up right there on the website. They'll be able to get their donation form with their story told on the form. They each have their own donation goal based on their fundraising needs, and they're added to the calendar, which is then sent out to everybody. So this is a perfect example of how you could really diversify your campaigns for a specific need. Another way that the same organization utilize various fundraising opportunities is a sponsorship. So they have a sponsorship opportunity for the calendar. So on top of donations to the actual children, they're receiving donations to actually produce the images that they're taking of the children, as well as the supporting of making the calendar. So sponsoring this would allow businesses to get highlighted on the calendar, which then is sent around to all the folks that are participating in the campaign. So a really nice way to diversify a fundraising event. The next part here is educating, informing, and being transparent with your donors. So you need to make sure that your organization is working hard to inform your donors and keep them informed after they donate, especially when it comes to recurring donations. We want to keep our loyal donors informed and connected to the organization and the organization's mission, so that in the long term, they're always keeping you top of mind. And when it comes time for them to review their donations for the year, they feel really good and have a sense that they've really contributed to the community that you're supporting. So first, you must identify your mission and show how you fulfill it. So I find that a lot of folks are really good at showing the ways that they need things. They need a lot of different support and resources to support their organization, but becoming really clear about what your mission is and how you fulfill it and communicating that clearly on your website is very important. And that message should be told in many different ways, through imagery, through video, and through copy, through the actual organization members, through the volunteers, and through the donors that are contributing. So all these different voices can come through to show your donors how you're fulfilling your mission. And then the next part after that feels really solid, you'll demonstrate the needs and inspire folks to contribute. And that really looks like displaying the different various campaigns across your website and encouraging folks to participate in a campaign or a fundraiser or an online event. So a really good example of displaying the mission and why they need donations and how they're fulfilling their mission's need is Love Button. I love Love Button, another amazing organization that I found through GiveWP. And they express very clearly on their website why it matters, what their intention is, and what love in action looks like. So they're expressing very clearly here why donors should be invested. And then further down the page, they get a little more deeper into the school outreach programs that they have, the Global Movement Initiative for Medicine and Research, and also the international humanitarian activities that they engage in. So they've outlined these 3 different sections of their organization very well so that you can get a very clear view of how they're impacting the world. So part of this is telling your story, right? So telling stories within your organization, because it's already there for you. You already have these stories built into the people that are supporting your organization, whether it's one person or many people. You have a story and a reason why you're doing this work. So lean on your volunteers, your sponsors, your board members, and those that you support, and ask them about their stories. Get their voice told on your website through blog posts, through social media, and through video content in any way that you can to get that voice out there to communicate to your donors clearly. Keep your donors informed. So making sure that you're keeping your donors in the know of what's going on with their donations, especially if they're a recurring donor. Where is that money going? How is it being implemented? When goals are reached, what happens? You can really get specific in your email receipts, depending on how you set up your campaigns. And if you have a general giving form, you can get very general about how you're using money, how you're using the money that's coming in. Or if you have more specific campaigns, you can use those receipts to communicate with your donors more specifically how those funds are actually being used, where they're going, what they're buying, and who they're supporting. Strong imagery and video is definitely always good there too. And a lot of that can come into a secondary strong email strategy after they receive their receipt of their initial donation and they're continuing to donate, hopefully through a recurring donation strategy. You can segment your donors based on how much they've donated, the level at which they've donated, if they are a one-time or a recurring donor, based on their annual giving history or the area of need that they decided to donate to. So there's a lot of ways you can diversify your messaging, and I highly recommend that you consider this, because what your donor connects to your organization about is what's going to tug on their heartstrings and keep them connected to you for the long run. Be transparent. Make sure that you're sending your donors updates about how things are going with your organization over time. It's going to take a sip of water so I don't choke here. I'm talking too much. The ability to send an annual impact report or quarterly or biannually can be really powerful. It doesn't need to be anything too crazy. It can just be a one page of what impact you've had in that period of time. So it's really powerful information and opportunity to provide stats to your donors to make sure that they're in the know of what's going on with your organization. You can provide your donors with a donor dashboard or a place of access to get their receipts and to be able to, print their receipts and see what they've donated throughout the year as well. Make sure that you're transparent with what they're donating and what they're subscribed to. You can also show those stats from your annual appeal on your website, but it's nice to actually reach out to your donors individually as well. Be grateful to your donors. Customize your email receipts with gratitude, a personalized message to thank them, and a nice thank you video could be nice from your whole team, your volunteers. And you can also send a special note to your donors, maybe folks who have donated over a particular amount of money. A nice handwritten note can go a long way. And last here is connecting with your community. So networking in person events and virtual events and participating in things like Giving Tuesday can be really powerful. Giving Tuesday is the National Day of Giving. It is on November 29th of this year. So make sure to look into it and plan a strategy. It requires planning early. There's a lot of organizations that participate in this from countries all around the world, 80 participating countries in 2021. And I'll show you some stats in the next slide as well. But it's important to start planning early because you want to get a dedicated landing page for your Giving Tuesday campaign. Get a specific appeal in place or a specific interest that you want to really drive donors towards. It should be different than your general donation campaign. It should be really specific to what you're trying to achieve in that particular year or that particular time period, whether it's a few weeks or months. There's over 2 billion received in 2021 for Giving Tuesday. So, and 35 million people participated in Giving Tuesday. So it's a really powerful event, and I highly recommend you looking into it and planning something for your nonprofit or the nonprofit you support. Additionally, you can find local meetups, WordCamps, opportunities to speak at these events in person or virtually. There's so much opportunity out there. Just get in the circles of your industry and your community and encourage the folks that are working within your organization to speak up as well. Folks that are volunteering, people that are on your board, you can get people to be a representative of your organization that way and connect with others. There's a lot of Facebook groups as well that can be really helpful and can be great for networking and getting some tips and tricks from others that have been doing the same thing that you're doing. So all of this to say that allowing your donors to connect more with your nonprofit or your nonprofit client only helps spread the joy of giving. You're helping communities expand and succeed and achieve amazing goals. And just knowing that you're part of that sense of community can go a long way. And you want to translate that into the donor's experience, because it all really is coming down to us feeling connected to each other and supporting one another. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for having again today. I would love to answer any questions that are coming up. So let me know.
Amanda, thank you so much, so much great content in there. And I just, before we kick off, I just want to say a personal thank you to you, as you have obviously given into Big Orange Heart, and you've been there to support and obviously helped run the campaign through the most recent WordFest for us. So big thank you to you, and thank you for giving your time to come and share your knowledge and experience with us around improving how we can support our nonprofit clients.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. The before we're going to run a quick Q&A session. Just before we get into that, I just wanted to have a quick message from one of our sponsors, just to say thank you for us. So we'll be back in just a moment. Of course, a big thank you there from our GoDaddy Pro team that are supporting Big Orange Heart, which obviously, Amanda, as you were talking there around the idea of sponsorship and looking for alternative ways and enabling nonprofits to financially create stability for themselves. Would you just mind just running us through just momentarily with around the idea of Give WP particularly? I know obviously it's a product very close to your heart and something you're very, very familiar with. Are there any kind of quick tips that you would recommend for somebody that's just starting out, the idea of setting up a WordPress instance, looking for donations? What would that kind of process look like around utilizing Give WP?
Yeah, absolutely happy to talk about that. It's what I talk about all day, every day. I mean, anyone that's looking to start fundraising online, Give WP is an amazing option because you can get started so quickly. So if you are a WordPress novice, or if you have a lot of experience, you can really get started with Give. And that's why my role in customer success is there, as well as to help coach people to get started if they're not familiar with WordPress. And really, it's kind of like an uphill journey to get to know all the things about WordPress and start online fundraising. It can be a lot. But relatively speaking, there are resources in place. There are steps that you can take to get there quickly, and we can help make it happen. And really, the best tip is just to outline things first. Like if you have a website already, great. Get your strategy on paper, or in a sketch or something where you can kind of visualize it for yourself or communicate to your developer or designer of what you want your donation page to look like, what you want it to communicate, and why people should be navigating to it, how they're going to get to that page. Because I tend to see a lot of folks just diving in and getting things implemented without that strategy in place and needing to kind of backtrack. So while you can get a form up and running really quickly, absolutely, you might want to just take a moment to plan your strategy to see how are you going to best engage donors through this online strategy, and then go ahead and get Give WP up and running. And you can start for free for online fundraising with Give with one-time donations. So really, it's an accessible tool to a lot of people.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. It was interesting talking about the idea of following up with donors and ensuring that journey, that communication continues. Something we certainly did with Big Orange Heart in the earlier days, where numbers were slightly smaller, essentially, it was slightly more manageable for us. But we actually provided a short 15-20 second thank you video for the donations that we were receiving, and essentially it was me. I'd be out taking my dog for a walk, and I'd take the GoPro or my stick, and essentially I just spend those 10, 15, 20 seconds recording those videos as I was walking the dog. And almost every single one of them that got sent out got a response. And it was just that incredible, that idea of we work so hard to try and engage with audiences. And that for me was a real, I
think what you're saying there, Dan, and I would agree, is that people spend a long time trying to bring in a donor, and then they don't spend enough time looking after them when they do, or realizing that cultivating one person that can then create additional. The hardest bit is to get one person to your website. If you can get that one person to tell other people, and they can also engaged in that way, and you can keep that person coming back, it's far, far easier. We know this in the business world, but for some reason on the donation world, we just think we've grabbed their money and it's like it's hard work. And I have that in a number of other areas that I work in. And it's just trying to make that happen. And I assume, Amanda, you're seeing that, the most successful people are the people who really are actually trying to work hard with the tools that you give them.
Yeah, it's so connected to the same idea of being able to get a customer, right? It's a lot harder to get a new customer than to turn another customer referral from a current customer. The same thing goes with donors. And I think it's just that human connection. It's especially in the online world, we want to feel like we can trust the organization that we're working with or supporting. And we want to feel that we're making a difference when we're donating. So being able to have that human connection and just that little extra step goes such a long way to communicate to somebody, to say like, hey, I actually care a lot about this, and that you spent this $5 or this $500, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's an exchange of energy, and you're acknowledging that. And acknowledging that throughout the donor's experience is what's crucial.
And I think, as Dan said, what I remember watching some of those videos that he created as he was walking his dog. They're in individual videos. They're individually touching, and of course, you are asking people to individually, or in some extent on a company, but effectively, you're asking somebody to make a decision. And I think they're wonderful. They're a wonderful way of actually communicating back. And nowadays, with a mobile phone, it's really easy. It's not about the level of quality. He's wandering around a field with a dog is not going to sit there and win awards for its videography, but it is going to win awards for the communication and the touch. And that's what people want.
I think also the fact that it's personal, I think that goes a long way, doesn't it? If you can, I mean, obviously, if you get to the point where you've got thousands of people donating, you can't send but I think it's always nice to try and retain that personal touch to let people know that,
But I sort of agree with you, Diane, but even if it's thousands of people, you still, each individual is a single person, and they're making a decision. And I think that's where something like Give WP just makes your tools and your ability to do things much, much easier.
Yeah, I mean, certainly mentioning the Give WP, we use Give WP across Big Orange Heart to enable our donations, and that workflow included the Zapier integration. So we would that information, as soon as a donation was made, I would then have my CRM populated with information in relation to those donations, so I could then manage that process of making sure that those thank you emails, those thank you videos were then produced. So, really utilizing those tools. I completely hear what you're saying, Amanda, around the idea of prepping and planning, the site, and making sure that the flow is correct, and getting your users to the correct place. I think that goes across the board, doesn't it? When we're talking about when we're talking about websites in general, guiding users and making sure that they are in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. Amanda, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge and experience with us. Just before we wrap up, do you want to just let us know where's the best place to get in contact with you?
Sure, yeah. So by email is great, amanda@givewp.com. And I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at Amanda Gorman, without the A, Gormn.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda. Really grateful for your time, and great to have you here and join us on what is essentially the first WP Global. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much again for having me.
Thank you, Amanda.
Amanda, take care. Okay, we are going to be inviting Lindsey Miller to the stage in just a moment. But before we do that, we are just going to hear a quick message from one of our sponsors.
My website crashed again. I give up.
No! Don't give up on your dreams, Jordan. Who are you?
It's me. You. From the future. Your professional website is not out of reach. You just need Nexus. With Nexus Managed Hosting, you get lightning-fast load times, built-in performance monitoring and updates, and always awesome support 24/7, 365 for all your projects.
Whoa. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nexus, for supporting us, Big Orange Heart, as a global sponsor. And yeah, they just upping the bar again.
Watching that advert when we were watching it, as we kept seeing it in before, was always made me laugh. Thing is, yeah, it's great. It's great. As we were saying before, the quality of the sponsors and how the sponsors deliver has changed dramatically, and it's good to see.
As has the quality of the speakers as well. Actually, we've seen, obviously we went through this really difficult period of how do we do this? How do we come on and sit in front of a camera without an audience in front of us and present? And really looking forward to Lindsey's session coming up right now. Lindsey Miller, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
I was muted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
like, this is the first time I've done this sort of thing, right? Like all the time.
none of us have been on camera for a while, so it
yeah.
We've all hit the mute button.
Anyway, it's nice to see all of you.
Nice to see you too.
Yes. And Lindsey, you are going to be giving your session today, how to know if you're working with a shady agency, which I think is so important across the board for us to obviously have these understanding of red flags when it comes to working with companies. I see we've got your slides there, so we're going to crack straight on and get into your session. If you are on live.bigorangeheart.org, Lindsey has graciously agreed to do a live Q&A at the end of her session. So please do drop any questions that you have in the chat, and we will get those asked at the end. For now, Lindsey, the stage is yours.
All right. Thank you all. And thanks for that great introduction. So my name is Lindsey Miller. I am the CEO of Post Status. I also own a content marketing agency called Content Journey. I've been in WordPress space for a long time. I loved Amanda's talk. I actually am a big fan of hers and of Give WPs. And so I think that's a really good talk. And so I learned even more from her. So I'm really glad that she came today as well.
Lindsey, before we go anywhere, it just looks like we're having a little bit of trouble seeing your slides. What I'm going to ask you to do is just stop the slide share and start it again, because it just seems to have, and hopefully it's going to work. So we're going to see if that brings it back on. Sorry, it's not your end. I know this isn't your end because it's happened now twice, that we seem to be having a bit of a weird things that we haven't had with this platform before. So I'm just going to bring them back on. I'm going to cross my fingers that I can see your slides in the live environment, because your slides and you are much better looking than me. So hopefully they're going to appear in any second now. They are. So I'm going to disappear. Enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so I'm Lindsey Miller, and let's just go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about how to know if you're working with a shady agency. One of the things we talk about a lot at Post Status and even Content Journey is we get a lot of people that come to us and talk about how they've had bad experiences, and it makes people not like WordPress. It makes people have a bad rap of even talking to developers or even marketing agencies. And I just don't think that's fair. And I think that we can all do a little bit better of a job. It seems like our slides are gone again. I feel like, Leo, if you want to come back in, I can see them in the live environment on my screen with my face to the side. Okay. Are we good to go? Okay. All right. This is fun. This is great. Okay, let's keep going. So some of the red flags that I think that we should all be aware of. And if you are an agency that does some of these things, you probably have great reasons for doing it. I just hope that we can think about other ways of doing this and presenting our work to our clients that brings forward transparency and gets everyone on the same page. So I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you if you do any of this stuff. I would love to have the conversation though, if you want to reach out to me through Post Status or Twitter. So here's one of our first red flags that we're going to talk about. So if you don't have access to your own data, this happens way more often than I even care to share with everyone, where I talk to a client or I talk to somebody in the Post Status community and they don't even know how to access their Google Analytics accounts. I had someone recently come to us over at Content Journey, and they weren't moving because they were unhappy with their marketing agency. They just wanted to do something different and move over to us. And the other company would not release their our Google Analytics account. And we're basically saying, if you leave us, you have to start all over. And I just find that incredibly absurd and unfair that somebody would do that. But again, happens way more often than not. So if you're working with somebody and you don't have access to your Google Analytics, your Search Console, or even your ads account, then you should probably start asking questions and making sure that you have ownership of that, because at the end of the day, it is your data and you're going to be making decisions based on that data for years to come, no matter who started it or who's working with you. So make sure that you own all of your admin accounts. Next, you don't have the admin access to your website. Now, I know there are so many WordPress professionals out there that are 100% going to disagree with me, because you've probably had experiences where clients have gone into their dashboard before, they had admin access and they changed things, and it ruined your day or your week or your month or whatever it happens to be, and probably theirs too. But I do think this is another thing that to me is a red flag. If I was working with someone and they weren't allowing me access to my website to maybe make simple changes to it where I didn't necessarily need to pay somebody else their hourly wage, I could just go in and make a change to a photo, I would see this as a red flag. I know that clients can mess things up. I understand that entirely. I also think that the website is owned by them, no matter if we're working on it or not. And so we should be able to trust them with their own property. And so as a client, if you are working with someone and they won't allow you to see the back end or allow you to even know what's happening, then I think you should start asking questions and find out why they won't allow that access for you. Next, and this is one we see all of the time. This is a pet peeve of mine, but promises and guarantees. I know this is weird because we also read marketing and sales books that tell us that everyone wants a promise and everyone wants a guarantee. And I think it's Donald Miller. He talks about guarantees all the time. He's brilliant and a genius. But I think if we are talking to agencies and they are making guarantees of, conversions and leads or site traffic or anything else like that, they're probably empty promises that they can't keep, because I think no matter how good we are at our work, whether that be with ads or building the site or creating content or SEO like we do at Content Journey, you can't promise results. Like, there's just no way to be able to see that. Like, sure, we know if we follow our best practices, the likelihood of it working for our clients is going to be there. We wouldn't have jobs or clients. But if somebody is just spouting at you with promises and guarantees, I see that as a major red flag, and they probably aren't living in a really honest and transparent way. Or maybe the other side of that is, if you can guarantee major site conversions and traffic, then we should talk, because I want to learn your secrets. But it would just make me ask questions if somebody was making promises. And then last but not least is, you don't even know what your agency does for you. You don't know how they're doing it. You don't know what they're doing. I have people come to me all of the time and be like, I want to hire you to do work for me. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what do you need? What is it you're looking for? And they have absolutely no idea. And they don't know what they need. They were just told that they need content, and they don't know what their results or what their goal in mind is going to be. And it turns out they've probably been paying somebody else for an extensive amount of time, not even understanding the work that was getting done or being done. I think some of us as web professionals and other industries too, we feel like we have this like secret magic that's happening behind the scenes, and we want to keep that close to our vest and not tell anybody, our gold and the things that it is that we're doing. But the truth is, when we tell people what we do and how we do it, clients are more likely to choose us because we're showcasing our expertise. And ultimately, if they wanted our job, if they wanted our business, they would be doing that. So if somebody isn't telling you the steps they're taking to work for you, it's a major red flag. They should be willing to sit down, talk to you about it, explain it until you can understand exactly what's happening with your website. So if you have any of these red flags with any of your current agencies that you're working with in any capacity, and they're not giving you answers that you like, if you start questioning on some of these questions, if you're asking for your data and they won't give it to you, the next step is figuring out, and this is a sad one, but how to break up. I think the first part of breaking up is having a contract already. I know it sounds so like the antithesis of what we want to do. We want to be creative in doing the things that we do so well, but contracts are important. They are a necessity, and for really obvious reasons. It protects both sides. It protects me as the agency and you as the client. It also allows us to have very clear expectations of deliverables. So our contracts, for example, talk about we have certain information that we have to get from clients in order to do our job really well and on time. And so we talk about that in our contract is we have, XYZ things that we need in a timely manner. If someone's reviewing content, we need them to look at it and send it back to us within a couple of days and not wait a month or 2 months or more, like actually does sometimes happen. But it is in our contract, so we all have clear expectations. It also makes sure that we as an agency do our part. What are we actually doing for you as a client? Is that what you want? Does it align with your goals? Is it different than the conversation that we had the week before I sent the contract? So really make sure that we're all on the same page. And then if we are in a place where we have to break up, it should tell us how to do that. Is it a 30-day notice? Is it on immediate, like I don't want to work with you anymore, and it's immediately I tell you I don't work and I don't have to pay you another dime? Like, how does that work? And then we can follow that if we are in a place where we have to break up with each other. This is one of my favorite quotes. I use this all the time whenever we talk about difficult conversations. I try to pride myself on being able to have a difficult conversation and still be friends with the person afterwards. But my friend Peach says, our success is only limited by the amount of difficult conversations we are willing to have. So if we shy away from conflict, even healthy conflict, we might be missing opportunities. And so you may think you're working with a shady agency. Maybe there's some of those red flags that you've seen, but instead of just immediately breaking up with somebody, have a difficult conversation, ask those tough questions, and give them an opportunity to tell you why they are operating the way they are. And hopefully you don't have to break up and they can still continue doing great work for you, but maybe in a little bit of a different way that also makes you feel comfortable. So take this quote. I will give the advice of like living with it and using it in all aspects of your life, within your personal relationships, with your team members, everyone, because difficult conversations and healthy conflict can be a really, really good thing. Maybe that should be my next talk, Dan, is how to have a difficult conversation. We'll add that to the list. And then next, if you are having to break up with your agency, just be upfront and honest about why you're ending the relationship. I think it helps them be better. Maybe they will like to hear your perspective of what went wrong. Maybe it even isn't because of any of these red flags. Maybe it's a different reason. And so be really honest and upfront with them about it so that they have the opportunity to go forward in their professional life and do things differently, or maybe have the opportunity to improve. And so just be honest with it. And I think that also really helps everybody be better at the end of the day. Okay, so what makes a good agency? I think this list can go on, and I hope everyone sticks around for the live Q&A because I would love to continue making this list more robust, because there are a lot of people, especially in the WordPress community, doing incredible work and in incredible ways. So let's go down this list. So I think these are my top, and the top reasons, in my opinion, I should say. So your agency seems knowledgeable without the fluff, because marketing isn't magic. like I said, marketing, web design, development, all of that takes real work. You have to know what you're doing in order to have a great product at the end of the day. None of it is magic. And so if a good agency to me doesn't come to the table with, oh yeah, you send me $10,000 and in 2 weeks, we're going to come together and we're going to have clouds and fluffy rainbows and you have the best looking website that you've ever seen in your life. And it's going to work magically and leads are going to come in and traffic's going to soar and your whole life's going to change. That's probably not great. But if somebody comes to the table and they say, actually our onboarding takes a month and we look at your brand colors and your design and we learn about your voice and we put all of that into how we create this design for you, and our team of specialists, you go through this whole entire process and really explains it. They know what they're talking about. They're not using magical words. Then that's probably a really good agency that's going to do right by you and work really hard for your goals and not just theirs. So this, I think, ties into this magical talk, but I think good agencies take the time to explain their process. It is normal for myself or some of the other agencies that I work with if a client seems confused or unsure about their direction or even some of the things they're wanting to do, to take extra time, have more meetings. If they can be in person, to go to a coffee shop and walk through things or screen share and talk through plans and just be an open book process. And so I think when agencies take that extra time, it really does show not only that they are knowledgeable, but that they're going to do a really good job by you as the client and doing the right things. Next is transparency. So when we talk about timelines, like project timelines, I think a good agency is one that is very transparent when things go wrong, which I think is really hard to do sometimes. We don't necessarily want to tell people that we're missing deadlines or we forgot a step or that a team member suddenly needed to be out of the office for 5 days and got us behind. All of that feels really messy. And sometimes it feels like maybe clients won't trust us if we tell them everything that's happening behind the scenes. And my personal opinion is that the more transparent and honest and open we can be with our clients, the stronger our relationship is going to be. And so I think good agencies really follow that line of thinking and being really transparent in their work, and especially whenever things are going wrong. And you work with clients that understand that, or you as a client understand that, then you're just going to be better off in the long run and have a team of people working with you that will really set you apart from your competition. And finally, not finally, I have 2 more, sorry. Our good agencies are aligned with your goals in mind. So if you are with an agency that just treats you as a commodity or another line item on their positive side of the budget, we got another client, let's celebrate, the good ones are going to make sure they're aligned with your goals. So what are you trying to accomplish? And they're going to go towards that goal, not necessarily their own personal financial goal to add you to their client roster, but what are you trying to do to succeed? Are you going through a design rebrand right now because you're adding an e-commerce solution, which is actually with one of our clients right now? And so they were interviewing web design and development agencies, some of them actually from the post status community, which is awesome. But they were interviewing different people, and there's really a stark contrast between different types of even just web design companies and how they interact with clients and ask questions. And so those that are really aligned with your goals and what you're trying to accomplish are going to be the ones that you want to stick with. And finally is consistency. They do what they actually say they will do. It doesn't feel like this should be a novel concept, but good agencies are consistent. They tell you that they're going to deliver something and they consistently do that. without missing tons of deadlines or not answering emails or phone calls or not showing up for meetings, which happens sometimes as well. So good agencies are consistent. They stick with you, your process, and they deliver all the things that you need, again, with your goals in mind. So our next section, and then we're going to open up for questions, is all about creating a strong relationship. So I think that this probably has been touched on in various parts of this talk today. But the stronger of a relationship that you have with your agency, the better you're going to reach your own business goals. And so how do you do that, right? Some of that is involved in being honest and upfront and transparent and having difficult conversations. But honestly, start from the beginning and having clear goals for like what your business is and what you're hoping to accomplish with that agency. For sure, go back to the contract, which is the legal version of this. But there really is this nicer feeling way of creating a really strong bond, friendship, professional relationship, whatever it is that you would like to call it, with your agency, so that you have great lines of communication that are open and that everybody's goals are very clear on what we're trying to accomplish together. So you as the client need to make sure that you know where you're wanting to go so that you can communicate it with your agency and that everybody can work together for that. Next, and I sometimes feel like this is a weird thing to talk about, especially whenever we're creating a strong relationship, but there is this piece about pricing that I think is really important. If you are choosing between, let's say, 3 different agencies, and one is entirely out of your budget and one is way below what you are willing to spend, there is some mental block that can sometimes interrupt the relationship that you have with your agency. So if you feel from the very beginning like you can't actually afford what you're spending with them, you may not really be giving them the chance to deliver for you. You might question things more often. You may be wanting, and I don't know, maybe thinking how you want to hurry up and see results faster. And that if you aren't seeing results faster, or if the website isn't working like it's supposed to, you're like, well, I'm paying all of this money, it should look differently. It just doesn't set that relationship off the right way. The same thing happens if it's way undervalued. So if your budget is, let's say, $2,000 a month and you're paying someone $50 a month, you may not even give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do a good job. So making sure that you have pricing that actually agrees with your budget and that is being met so that you're giving that agency all of the information and time and trust that they deserve. And sometimes pricing is something that gets in the way of that. So just make sure when you choose your agency, not only are they aligning with your goals, but that they're aligning with your budget as well. And just because they're out of your price range doesn't mean that they are the best choice for you. They may be a great choice for somebody else, and that's okay to say no. And next is spend significant time on the front end. So we talk a lot about building strong relationships on the content journey side more than the post status side. But we spend a lot of time with our clients in the first month or two. And all of that is to make sure that we're setting ourselves apart with really, really strong understandings of each other and a really strong relationship. We make sure all of our new clients know this, that we are going to have a lot of meetings. We are going to be sending a lot of forms to gather information. We are going to be emailing back and forth a lot so that we can spend all of this time on the front end really building a strong relationship with each other, so that we can give our opportunities together the best chance we possibly can. If we just immediately run into something, even if it's a design job, and we just start sending over, proofs of concept and mock-ups and things without having conversations, we're probably not doing a very good job for them. And so we're not meeting expectations and we're just trying to rush through things. And so really spending some time on that front end, getting to know each other and them getting to know us too, I think really sets us apart with our relationships and how to maintain that. So don't just speed past that. Once that contract gets signed and start delivering things, go ahead and take time and get to know your clients and get to know your agency so that you might even enjoy each other's company besides just working together. And I think it'll pay off for you. Here are a few places where you can find me. You can follow Post Status on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. That's where I spend most of my social media time. And then I also put Content Journeys Facebook page there as well, if you're interested to learn more. Poststatus.com is where you can find more about our WordPress community if you aren't familiar with Post Status. And you can always find me in Slack there as well. Let's see, Dan, Leo, and Diane. Are there any questions or anything else that we want to go over next?
Lindsey, thank you so much for doing that, and apologies for the issues at the start there with the slides.
It's totally fine.
Thank you. Really important topic. Obviously, a lot of stuff there that just resonates. I think. Individually, we've all been on our own individual journeys with companies where we've purchased services. Equally, we've supplied services, and I think there's stuff that certainly resonated with me on both sides of that conversation. So, thank you very much, and for taking the time to come and share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling Dan earlier today, I was like, this talk sometimes can go really, really long, depending on how ranty I feel. Because sometimes I can just go off the rails. And so I was trying to be cognizant of the time today to make sure I stayed on topic.
Really appreciate that. And of course, out of that, we've got another talk coming up, clearly.
I think that's going to be a good one. I should do that one.
It is. I think that's the thing about this. It's such a passion really plays out in this. We're passionate about the businesses. You're passionate about delivering a quality service, and the things that you're talking there all align with that and ensure that your end product, the end service that's being provided, is of quality. And it can be so easy to unfortunately get that wrong. And I think some of the things that you were talking there about, particularly around the contracts and making sure that you've got that legal speak that is, it just sets it out black and white. This is the relationship. If we need to have that difficult conversation, then we're going to have that difficult conversation. But it's backed up by the black and white in the contract. So incredible.
I think also that one of the things I always find with this, Lindsey, and I think you've touched on some really good points on it, is a relationship is a two-way process. It isn't just that the web agency or whoever it is has to deliver. A lot of the points of having to deliver down to the customer. The customer just expects, nice pink unicorns. They're not going to get what they expect. And I'm sure I'm not the first person who has ever said that. We've had to let customers go that just do not want to have anything that they either don't want to get involved in it, so they sort of say it's all your problem, they just walk away, or they expect you to do everything for what realistically is a ridiculous price or a ridiculous request. And it's finding that balance. And it's some of my clients I've had for over 15 years, and those are the ones where we've gone into this to work to help each other. And if you do that, if you take in that way of approach and say sometimes it works, and hold out your hand when it doesn't as well, but say this is something we do together. Anybody who thinks they're going to get a cheapie needs to find somebody else, and they wonder why they get burnt. I mean, I'm sure you've had that, Lindsey. It's like the sort of, when you were listing how much work you put in, that doesn't come for free.
Right. Absolutely. I think that you're right. We've all seen it. We all have this back and forth with clients at various times in our careers. But when we look at it from a standpoint of, I don't have to take every client, just like when I am a client, I don't have to hire every agency I talk to either. But it is this place of, we're both looking for the right fit. And that's perfectly okay. We actually did a blog post just this week kind of talking about that, where it's a mutual interview. I don't have to hire every client. Every client is going to be a good fit for me. And so going into it that way, and even just being open and honest in some of these client sales calls with that in mind, I think has really helped us find clients that we really love working with, and very few that end up turning out like maybe it was a bad choice to say yes to them.
It's because I work freelance. I remember when I first started, kind of you almost feel like, every job that, and then I realized that I could turn down work, and it was absolutely wonderful. That's such a fantastic day. The first day when you go, no, I don't think this is for me.
I think it's when you start with somebody and they turn around to you and they say, I've got this dream. We're going to be the biggest XYZ. I want a world-class solution from you. And then we say, okay, that's great. And then they say, but we haven't got any money. And you're like, yeah, you're not going to get a world-class solution for no money. And it's not that everything has to be expensive, but it has to be realistic, that both parties have to be realistic about what they're going to get out of the relationship. And I know you started this, Lindsey, by saying, how to watch out for bad bad agencies, but it's also bad clients, and it's also just trying to find that balance. And I suppose that's where, it's sort of like you can only have bad used car salesmen if you've got bad used car buyers.
I think it's a lot of people. I think also as well, a lot of the time it's naivety. That kind of like loads of people that come to me, they're like, it's where I remember someone saying to me once when I had to explain what I was going to have to do, that they wanted like a custom solution, and they said, I thought WordPress was supposed to be easy. And I was like, yeah, but what you want is not, it's not, you want everything custom. It's not standard, kind of, it's all web development. It doesn't matter if it's on WordPress or, kind of something, something else. It's easy or hard.
Absolutely. Or it's a lot of work to make it easy for somebody else.
I meant hard for me, sort of like, or time consuming, not hard, but time consuming.
Absolutely.
I think part of what gets lost in that sometimes in those conversations is actually it may well be easy for us as as agency owners or as freelancers, in our if we're content writers, that's a skill set that we've developed over many years. And actually, yes, it may well be easy for me to have that plugin built for you or have that piece of content written for you, but it's only easy because of the years of experience that I've developed, and that's where the true value really comes in terms of the people that you're working with.
Isn't that part of it too? Is so many people, and I'll say women especially, kind of fall into this area of not valuing our work. And so I think when people question it, and then all of a sudden and again, this is me, this is a personal Lindsey thing of being like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be charging that amount, and like second guessing all of that. And then being like, wait, no, I've done this for a really long time. I am good at what I do. And
I'm good at what I do.
Pay me this amount of money. It's so hard. So like as soon as they question it, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I should lower everything. And
imposter syndrome, isn't it? I think everyone has it, don't they? Kind of. I think that's universal.
I think everybody bar lawyers can charge a lot of money. So you're right.
Yeah, they don't have a problem.
No, they don't have a problem charging. But you do look at it and you say, the number of times in sort of the IT world where someone will go, oh, you know how to fix laptops. Can you fix mine? Spend 6 hours on it and I'll give you 4 beers. And you're like, right, okay, I've spent longer than you did having your car service, but you don't give the guy servicing your car 4 beers. It's just
do it for the exposure. Do it for the exposure. It'd be really good exposure.
Yeah, exactly. It is interesting, isn't it? And I know we've twisted this conversation because we've twisted it mainly about how from the client's perspective, but it is very true that, and I suppose when you have those opportunities, you have those areas where, as Diane says, is do you understand what your skills are, and can you verbalize them, and can you actually put them down, and do people realize what your costs are and your skills are, and then being able to turn around and saying, well, when people do, they value it. And when you value something, and when both parties value something, you get the property and you get what they want. And I think that's the key thing that you're saying, Lindsey. And you must see this, you must feel very rewarded when you see sort of the customers who you deliver to, and they're happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we, again, here in my post-status capacity, but talking about content journey, I live a very busy dual life, I think, on the daily. But our content journey team, we really celebrate our client successes, and we really enjoy some of them. Like Emily on our team had a meeting with one of our people today, and we're all like, oh, tell him we said hi, and it's this really, really fun thing. And when we send like analytics reports at the end of the month, we share all of that back with writers, like, hey, you wrote this piece of content and it got 6,000 views for the last 3 months straight, like, way to go. And like, we celebrate all of that stuff for them. And when we see them create wait lists or their sales go up, it feels really, really good, because we work with good people and we have these really strong relationships, and it just, I don't know, it makes our work actually feel a little bit more worthwhile than just like selling doodads and writing stuff and sending it off, and I think that helps me feel good about what I do at the end of the day, which is nice.
I think it's Oh, sorry.
Go on, Dan.
I was going to say, I think that you hit the nail on the head there when you said that it's when you build relationships with clients, and those are the clients that you keep, and that's where you get the reward, and you value them and you feel valued by them. I think that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Lindsey, thank you. Really appreciate your time coming to come and share your knowledge and experience with us, as Amanda did earlier on. Appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Appreciate you're a very, very busy person, as you mentioned. I've seen multiple roles going on. And just quickly before we go, how best can people get in contact with you?
So I spend a lot of time on the Twitter, like a lot of our WordPress friends. So at Lindsey Miller WP is my Twitter. You can also email me, Lindsey, LINDSEY I'll say it for all of you all, poststatus.com. And I'll watch that as well. And so I'd love to hear from other people, and if they have anything else to add to this talk, because this is one of my favorite ones to do.
Fantastic. Well, that's been awesome. Really appreciate it. And it is such a such a big topic, and there's so much across this, and it's such an important topic as well. So making sure that as we've discussed, it works both ways, both in terms of purchasing and selling. So thank you. Really grateful.
Thank you all. It was so nice seeing you.
Oh, it's lovely to see you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Okay, we are just going to hear a quick message from one of our sponsors.
Discover Weglot, the simple translation solution for your website. All you have to do is add Weglot to your website. Select the languages that you need, and that's it. Your website is now available in multiple languages.
You're right, it's quick, that one.
That was
quicker than I thought it was.
I was desperately trying to share my screen in that time while we were there. I didn't realise that one's a 15-second.
Yeah, anyway.
Excellent. Two very different but two very important talks today. Yep. I think. Yeah, grateful to both.
I think you mentioned it earlier, Dan. What's amazing is that we have been away for a number of months on this, but also reality is that with our in-person event coming back later this month, and the first time in 2 and a bit years, the world has moved on, but it's moved on very positively, and especially our industry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think we're 26 months since our last physical event at WPLDN.
That's it. My hair's got less. Diane's got darker.
Less.
I was so looking forward to seeing you all, but I won't see you this time. But I will see you at the next one. Okay.
Excellent. Well, I'm hoping these slides are going to actually work this time around. Something is definitely not quite right.
Something's not playing quite well as it
No,
used to
no.
normally. But anyway, they're there.
Anyway,
They're there. So they
well,
were.
they're
They
there, but they're
were.
not there. So
They
I
were for
think
about a second.
they were, and they've gone. Oh well.
Oh, gone. Oh well.
Something very strange. Oh, and they're back, and they're gone.
Oh, there you go.
We
don't know.
apologise.
We
This
don't
is
know.
beyond our control, unfortunately. This one.
Yeah, I'm hopeful
We
that just
were-
changing the screen around it
we
will
were
work,
too
but I don't think
slick.
it will.
We were too slick before. People were thinking that it's lost that thrill of the tightrope walking. Now we're back to who knows what could happen.
Well, I think they're up now for the next 10
Get
seconds.
this
So
one
talk
quick.
quickly.
Sponsors, big thank you. Please hit big.ht/thanks, Bluehost, Cloudways, GoDaddy Pro, Nexus, and WeGlot as global sponsors of Big Orange Heart. They are enabling us to not only deliver our virtual events, but also our physical events, and of course, WordFest Live twice in 2022. So please do. Not only that, we are also then able to deliver our wellbeings and mental health support through Big Orange Heart through this through the funding that we receive through these sponsors. So please do hit big.ht/thanks. If you are on live.bigorangeheart.org, you can drop in /feedback. If you are watching this out on social, big.ht/feedback. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this event, this format, this concept of WP Global as we move forward. There are multiple places that you can get in contact with us on that page that will enable you to register as a speaker. It will also enable you to contact us if you're interested in joining as a guest co-host or even a co-organizer. We'd love to hear from you. Our next WP Global will be taking place on the second Thursday of every month. That's the 12th of May. It's going to be the next one. Got a really interesting session coming up. We finished off the last virtual event talking about, had a roundtable talking about the block editor. We're actually going to be taking part 2 of that. So we're 7 months later, and we've got the same team. Anne McCarthy, Paul Lacey, and Nathan Wrigley are going to be joining us for that roundtable discussion. We've also got a second session coming up as well. So please do join us 12th of May, second Thursday of every month. And as we've mentioned multiple times, WPLDN, one of our physical events, is returning. So usually the last Thursday of every month. However, this first one, will take place on the last Wednesday, just to make things more interesting and more complicated. 27th of April. So 2 weeks yesterday will be the first physical event in central London in the UK. We would love to see you there if you're able to join us. The sessions will also be streamed on social media and the Big Orange Heart channels if you are unable to join us physically. We're going to head over to the social spaces on live.bigorangeheart.org, live.bigorangeheart.org/room/social. It would be great to connect with you over there and maybe continue some of the conversations that we've been discussing today. Nearly. And as Amanda has been talking about, we are a non-profit, so I just want to give a quick plug to the ability to donate into Big Orange Heart. Every single penny goes directly into supporting wellbeing and mental health support across the remote working community. So if you have the ability, big.ht/give. Every penny is greatly appreciated. This has been the first WP Global delivered by Big Orange Heart. Diane, Leo, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you being part of this and helping us to deliver these events.
It's been really good. It's been done totally flawlessly. Thank you to Diane, who's done all the technology behind it. It was nothing to do with me. In all seriousness, it's we've blown a few cobwebs out and got things back on track. It's been beautiful. Well, it's been great to be back on and doing things, and it's really nice to be doing things again and looking forward to doing more as the year comes on.
Yep. Busy year ahead. I think there's a lot of shifting sands at the moment around obviously the current situations and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, obviously, the current global situation in relation to what's going on. Just wanted to mention Big Orange Heart does stand in solidarity with the Ukrainian people, and hearts desperately go out to the current situation. Of course, this is a global community that we are within, and there are people that are within our community, within the the WordPress community, within the Big Orange Heart community, that are being directly impacted by this current situation. So, as I say, our hearts do go out, and we do stand in solidarity with you. Okay, I think we should probably wrap it up there, shouldn't we?
Yep.
Another advert.
No more adverts. However, there is another video. So goodbye from us.
Goodbye.
See you
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Speak soon.